Welcome to the Health Angle Podcast with Dr. Mike Headlee and Dr. Gordon Fimreite, where we'll be exploring different angles of health to achieve the best version of yourself. Now here's your hosts, Dr. Mike and Dr. Gordon.
Welcome, everyone. I am Dr. Mike Headlee, and with me is Dr. Gordon Fimreite. Welcome, Gordy.
Hey, Dr. Mike, and welcome, everybody. Today's subject is 10 foods to increase your testosterone. Dr. Mike, when I think of testosterone, I think a lot of people think of men with big muscles and trying to optimize their muscle mass. And I think there's a whole lot more to this. So I think this is a really important subject for both men and women. I think we'll give some real good information. So what comes to mind when you think of testosterone?
I don't hear a lot in the media and TV about optimizing our diet for certain things, like things we've talked about in the past, vitamin D and immune issues and all that. So I definitely don't hear a lot about foods that optimize testosterone. So I'm really excited to share that with our viewers. When I was growing up, I used to see people on stage that were just ginormous. I mean, their arms were as big as my waist. They were just these big bodybuilders. You'd hear rumors that they're injecting steroids and testosterone and different things like that. And you hear about banned athletes from the Olympics. And so that's what comes to mind is kind of negative and it's dangerous. And today, if you have too much testosterone, it's hard for the heart and heart attack risk. So that's what I think about. I just wanted to just touch base on truly a few definitions on what is testosterone. And it's a sex hormone. In men, it's produced in the testicles. Testosterone plays a key role in the development of many muscular characteristics. It affects bodily processes like sex drive, metabolism, and reproduction. Testosterone naturally declines as we age, and the symptoms of low testosterone can impact our health and our life in a lot of ways. Younger men can also be affected by low testosterone, even experiencing in their 20s. Gordy, how about you? What comes to mind in your media and your consciousness and what you see from a week-to-week basis?
Yeah, I think when people are aware of what we're going to be talking about, I think there's going to be more heightened attention. Maybe I need to pay more attention than I am, both for men and women. So it's really important for both sexes. It influences everything from muscle mass that we were just talking about to bone density. We all know that osteopenia, brittle bone disease as we mature in life is a thing. A lot of people break their hips and a lot of this can be prevented. But testosterone also can have an impact on mood and sexual function, both men and women. So we need to maintain our optimal levels of testosterone, and both physically and emotionally, just for the well-being and overall health. So as men mature, yes, we decline in our testosterone levels. So we really need to be in tune to that. And there's other things that can influence testosterone, not just diet, but also through exercise, sleep, and stress reduction, among other things. And I had to look up celebrities because I knew that Sylvester Stallone, he was quite public about taking testosterone. And I think for him, he wanted to do it for his youthfulness and to be more muscular and all that. But I looked at some other celebrities and I was surprised. Now, they're public with it, because I did find it publicly, but what I don't know, was it for medical reasons? Were they doing it because they needed testosterone or because of their hormones were displaced or some other reasons medically? That I don't know. But here's some other celebrities. Oprah Winfrey, Joe Rogan. Now, he's a big guy. Who knows? He could be doing it for the muscle factor. Mel Gibson, Jeff Bezos, and I'm sure there's a whole lot of other ones as well. So, and I have 10 points, Dr. Mike, that I'll point out why testosterone is important specifically. But I'm going to hand it back to you.
Yeah, I would like to go eventually to our top 10 foods to optimize. And then after we go through that and discuss that, I have 3 tips for making the testosterone diet a habit. I think that might help at the end. Before we get kick started, I think one of the most important things that people don't talk about a lot is avoiding toxins and avoiding things that deplete things from your body. Avoiding things that deplete vitamin D or calcium or testosterone. some major things that people overlook a lot of times, the nastiness of plastics. And we've talked about in the past on how that disrupts our microbiome. So there's 5 things I'll touch base quickly, and then I'll let you go through the top 10 things. Plastics, yeah, that depletes testosterone. Avoiding chronic cardio and only cardio. It doesn't mean you shouldn't move a lot and get your 10,000 steps in and all that other stuff, but if you just are ultramarathon runners and things like that, that really depletes your hormones. Eating too often, and we've talked about fasting in the past as well. So if you eat 6, 8, 10 times a day, that can deplete hormones. Thinking that electromagnetic frequency doesn't harm you, and keeping that cell phone in your back pocket or front pocket by testicles and or women in their bra. We've touched on that you've seen that in your gym and stuff, people tucking EMFs. And then the last one is ejaculating too much and overstimulating. Just like I said, too much cardio can really deplete us. But those are habits that people just, it doesn't affect my hormones. And you mentioned earlier sleep and all that other stuff. So those are some more often overlooked things to avoid. So let's dive in, Gordy. I'm curious to hear what you have to say about your 10 tips for us.
Perfect. I'm going to go through this relatively quickly, but I want to hit all points because I think it's really important for people to know, because when we do get to the foods, I think it'll be more impactful. So we just talked about muscle mass and strength, but I want to just make one more point about that. When people exercise and they deplete themselves through rigorous exercising, well, guess what? You need to recover. And testosterone is really critical for that, male and for women as well. Bone density, as we know, as we mature, brittle bone or osteopenia or osteoporosis, it is a thing. People can break hips among other bones. So we need to stimulate the production of bone-forming cells called osteoblasts. Testosterone is critical for that. It promotes calcium in the bone, makes them stronger. So critical. The other thing is fat distribution and metabolism. People don't realize that testosterone plays a role in both of those. So we need to regulate the distribution of this in our body, fat distribution that is, and it influences where it's stored. So a lot of times fat can be stored in men in the abdomen, in women in the buttocks. So testosterone is known to help to regulate the metabolism, regulate the distribution of fat in the body. So if we get too low of testosterone, really increases the body fat, decreases your overall metabolism. Number 4 is blood cell production. Now, this is really important because blood cell is in the bone marrow and it brings oxygen to all our body. And if you have low testosterone, that can lead to anemia, which is not getting enough red blood cells, and that can cause fatigue, weakness, and reduces the ability to perform physical activities. So that's another one. Libido and sexual function, we need it. Sperm production, erectile dysfunction, overall sexual health. Testosterone really has a big role in that. And then mood and cognitive function, people don't think of this. But testosterone influences mood, mental clarity, and cognitive function associated with well-being. So low testosterone, hey, you can get those mood swings, irritability, you can get depression, anxiety, it can be difficult concentrating. So really critical for mood and cognitive function. Health heart. Testosterone is associated with health heart. Again, going back to red blood cell production, cholesterol levels, and blood circulation all rely on testosterone. And if you have low testosterone, that can lead to an increased risk in cardiovascular disease. Hair growth, need testosterone, facial, body hair for men. If it's low, it can reduce facial, body hair growth, as well as thinning or hair loss, male or woman, both. And number 9 is insulin sensitivity. So helps regulate insulin sensitivity in the body. And when people think of sensitivity as far as insulin, you think of diabetes, the blood sugar levels. So we need testosterone. If you have low testosterone, that's associated with the risk of type 2 diabetes and metabolic syndrome. So definitely need testosterone in that category. And number 10, overall energy levels. Dr. Mike, people don't think of that, but you need testosterone closely. It really links to the energy and vitality in our body. It regulates the body's energy and production of stamina. And low testosterone, it can give you the feeling fatigue, low energy, the lack of motivation, and your enthusiasm for just daily activities. So, and then I got 3 bonus ones that I'm just going to talk about real quick. Skin health. People don't think of that, but you need testosterone for good skin health. If you don't, instead of having elasticity and good collagen in the skin, it leads to thinning of the skin, loss of elasticity, and that can lead to wrinkles and other signs of aging. And then hair growth, we just talked about that, but testosterone and menopause. And levels in women begin to decline as well as men, and that can accelerate the menopause, and that can bring on low libido, muscular loss, mood changes, etc. And I know some women have to go on hormone replacement therapy, and that's a whole new subject.
I have a list of 10 foods that you can optimize your testosterone with, and definitely chime in, Gordy, some of your favorites. What do you think of the list? And then after that, I have 3 tips for making testosterone diets easily implementable into your everyday routine. So number 1 is whey protein. I think of you when I think of whey protein because you like to put that in your smoothies. Whey protein can really elevate testosterone. Fatty fish, not just salmon, but I truly like sardines and anchovies. I'm curious, Gordy, if you like fatty fish.
I don't eat a lot of fatty fish, Mike. That's why I kind of dive into the supplement, flaxseed, and maybe get my extra virgin olive oil as well.
Sure.
So I don't know. I've kind of freaked out a little bit about all the toxicities found in fish, unless it's like a organic or, kind of a natural source.
Yeah.
But fine line.
Yeah. Wild caught, maybe salmon from Alaska, or I like sardines. They say our sardines and anchovies are so small that they don't bioaccumulate a lot of heavy metals and toxins as much, but you got to know the source too. So really great source of vitamin D as well. And vitamin D, when it's low, indicates low testosterone too. So it's really critical to have your vitamin D tested and have a high normal level of vitamin D. And that can be optimized by omega-3s. We've talked about that extensively too. Check out some of our other podcasts about healthy fats. 3 is oysters. I personally like oysters, but I don't eat them a lot. Leafy greens, dark leafy greens, you can put that in a smoothie as well. And they're high in magnesium. And magnesium deficiency is linked to oxidative stress, an imbalance between antioxidants and free radicals in our body that lead to damaging of our cells and actually lowering of testosterone. Avocados, they're high in boron. It's a trace mineral that benefits our hormones. And a lot of people like avocado toast and avocado. I love putting that in a smoothie because it binds up if you put greens and other things in there. So avocados are great. I know this is one of your favorite, Gordy's, eggs. I think eggs, gosh, they get vilified a lot still.
Mm-hmm.
And do you have any idea why people are still hung up on really pasture-raised eggs? Because I think they're one of the healthiest proteins out there, and that's good for our hormones. What's the idea? Why there's vilified, Gordy?
My brother's a food scientist, and we talked about natural animal fats, which that's the industry that he's in at this moment. And we talked about this, and it's the same thing where they're trying to sell margarine and other unnatural, basically non-animal fats. And in the process, they had to destroy animal fats, and I still think there's a stigmatism to that. And so when people think of eggs, they think of cholesterol, and they think of cholesterol, they think of bad fat, and they think of that not healthy. But on the contrary, just like you said, Mike, so we're on the same page. I think there needs to be some education as far as like really true intentions and studies as far as how effective animal fats are and how good they are if they're natural, organic, etc. So I'm with you.
Yeah, so I mean, get your cholesterol tested, get your blood pressure, get some tests done just to prove that you aren't out of range with things. And so just to recap, I went through 6 so far. Top 10 foods that optimize your testosterone. Number 1 was whey protein. 2 is fatty fish. 3 is oysters. 4 is leafy greens. 5 is avocados. 6 was eggs. 7 is onions, which I was surprised to learn that because I love onions, and you can put it into eggs. You can put it into stir-fry vegetables or roasted, but you put it in a lot of things, cooked or raw. I love onions. 8 is ginger, great for digestion, great for inflammation. That can be snuck into a smoothie too. Reduces oxidative stress, just like magnesium does. Number 9, extra virgin olive oil. You mentioned that earlier, along with fish oils and things. So extra virgin olive oil is greatly beneficial. And then the last one is pomegranates. And so yeah, that's the top 10 list. And I would like to just go through 3 tips for making the testosterone diet a habit, and then I'll kick it back to you to finish up. Another of your favorite ones, and we talked about this on a podcast, is the number one way to incorporate these foods into your diet to optimize your testosterone: smoothie, whey protein and greens and gingers and all that other stuff. Take some omega-3s afterwards or with it. So smoothies, great way to add 6 of those 10 foods into your diet. Number 2, seek out some simple, fast recipes. There's Binging with Bobbish, and there's a ton of YouTube videos on how to optimize your testosterone with your diet. Number 3, just meal prep, to really be prepared in advance, get their top 10 list, and just prepare on a Sunday so you don't have to eat the pizzas and the carbs and the sugars and the stuff that kind of really depletes you. And just be conscious of planning, and get a blender or a Vitamix for the holidays coming up, and get those smoothies going for 2025.
So, Dr. Mike, we have a lot of parallels between your list and my list, and I'll just make some points that I think are important. Eggs, we totally agree. I think, remember we had a podcast in the past, and I made the mention that if there's one food that you could eat, only one food for the rest of your life, what would it be? And I had mentioned eggs because there's so many benefits to eggs, but it really is important for production of hormones, especially the protein. So if you're just doing the egg whites, kind of missing the boat here. You need the cholesterol, which is a precursor to the production of testosterone. And I would recommend, if you're going to buy eggs, look for organic or pasture-raised eggs. Another one is tuna. That's in the same line as the fish, and it has a great source of vitamin D and which is linked to healthy testosterone levels. And it's also low in fat, rich in protein. And again, there's a fine line between maybe being toxicity. So you want to look for something that's organic or organic sustained options, or even fresh tuna. You want to avoid the mercury basically in these types of products. Lean beef. Beef is high in zinc, which is a mineral, and that is critical for testosterone production. And it's really a high quality protein if it's a lean cut, such as a sirloin or a tenderloin. So avoid those excess saturated fats, and look for something that's more organic when you're dealing with like beef. Spinach, you had mentioned leafy greens, kind of the same thing. This is basically rich in magnesium, and that's been shown to really boost testosterone levels. And it's also packed with antioxidants. So you can put it in smoothies, on salads, you can cook it on the side dish, etc. Pomegranate, I'm with you. Same thing. Make sure you eat the seeds with it. Sometimes people just eat the juice thinking they're doing it, but get those seeds as well. Ginger, we just talked about that. Again, you make it tea, you can put it into a smoothie, add it to flavor to your meals, so it's great. Avocados, Dr. Mike, you had mentioned that. So you can put avocado slices on a toast, you can put it in your smoothie or put it on a salad. Olive oil, we just talked about that. Extra virgin olive oil, get the organic kind. Again, you can put it at a salad dressing, or you can use it for cooking, etc. And then nuts, especially Brazil nuts. These are rich in selenium, and a mineral that plays really a critical role in testosterone production, and a really good healthy fat, as well as a good source of protein. So you can add those to an oatmeal or to your salad, or just eat them as a snack. And then you had mentioned oysters as well. So that's a phenomenal source. So just to summarize, Dr. Mike, at least for my final section here, is I think it's important just to incorporate a variety of these testosterone boosting foods to help support healthy testosterone levels in your body, as well as your overall wellness. And it's also to include with this a healthy diet, exercise regularly, get adequate rest and sleep, also reduce toxicities at home, in your home environment, whether it's the foods that you eat. Just opt for organic foods and look for household products that are organic, cleaning products that are organic, and even hygiene products that are organic. And then, of course, manage your stress levels. So that kind of summarizes my section, Dr. Mike. Back to you.
A couple other things that I would just throw in since we have a few minutes is to optimize our hormones. Cold therapy, whether it's cold plunging or cold showers, I think is really, really, really good. The research says red light exposure to our whole body has been shown to optimize testosterone and our hormones. I would like to get your thoughts real quick on workouts, Gordy. You said lifting and exercise, and we said don't do chronic cardio type stuff to optimize testosterone. So I'm going to tell our listeners a couple things about how to optimize testosterone with their workouts, and then I would really like your thoughts on that, and if you see people doing that to optimize not only their strength and their physique and their looks, but also you think they might be doing it for hormones. So sprinting or high intensity interval type exercises, lifting heavy things, using longer rest periods, doing forced reps, and then using your legs a lot, squats or deadlifts or lunges or leg presses. I'm curious on your thoughts on those things to optimize testosterone.
I 100% agree. And I think it's a good ideal to do like 1/3 lifting weights, 1/3 some type of an aerobic, whether it's a fast, brisk walk or a jog, whatever you can do in that department, cardio, even like incline or Stairmaster. And then the third thing is some type of flexibility, whether it's yoga or your own flexibility routine. I think those three things are critical. And I think it's important to note that if somebody is doing a rigorous training of exercise, like weightlifting, for example, or sprinting or running too much, you can induce your body to reduce a hormone called cortisone. It's a stress hormone, and that can actually have a negative impact. So I think getting these exercises in is critical, but if you're doing 2-3 hours a day, you're going to run your body down. It's going to do counter to the effects that you want it to.
Thank you for that. And gosh, robust information, simple little things that people can apply to their life and improve their hormones, specifically testosterone. So as I end, I always ask our listeners, what's the number one takeaway that you got from what we talked about that you can talk with a friend at the gym next time you're there? Ask them if they're working out to optimize their hormones potentially. Ask them what their diet is, if they have a smoothie before or after. Just kind of what's your number one takeaway that you can share with a friend at the gym next time you're there? And then what's your number one action step that you can take starting today based on what Dr. Gordy and I talked about? So with that, what's our next show talking about there, Dr. Gordon?
Hey, Dr. Mike, I'll put it on the screen so everybody can see it, and that'll be our subject for next episode. If you haven't subscribed to our podcast, please subscribe, please like, hit that notification bell. And Dr. Mike, until next week, we'll see everybody on the Health Angle podcast.
Thank you for joining us on the Health Angle podcast. Please subscribe to our channel and catch us for our next episode.